information about what Andy Park did to warn Sydney about guns. And whenever we objected to it, she said it was relevant because it went to their affirmative defense of comparative fault. I'm just asking the necessary follow-up question to determine whether or not Andy Park actually was in a better position to prevent what happened on August 18th.
May I respond? Your Honor, the scope of redirect has to follow what I discussed on cross-examination. Nowhere in my cross-examination did I discuss who was in a better position to prevent the events of August 18th.
I think we came close enough that I'll allow the question overruled.
Dr. Solo, like I was saying, in your professional opinion, who was in a better position to prevent what happened on August 18th? The Parks or Hayden Duran?
I believe, from a forensic psychological perspective, Hayden Duran was in a better position to prevent what happened.
No further questions, Your Honor. We ask that Dr. Solo be allowed to sit down if
Is there any recross?
No, Your Honor.
Then he may. Any further witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor, the plaintiff calls Andy Park.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Ms. Park.
Hi.
Can you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Andy Park.
Mrs. Park, can you tell us a little bit about your family?
Yeah. I went to the Navy right out of high school, so I started college late, and I never really thought I was going to meet someone until I met Lee. We eventually got married, and it took us a while to have kids, so we only ended up having Sydney. But she was just the happiest baby. I felt so lucky.
Mrs. Park, I'd like to show you something. Can you identify that for Mrs. Park?
Yeah, it's a picture I took of Sydney right after her 11th birthday.
At this point, Your Honor, we'd like to offer plaintiff's exhibit into evidence.
Can I ask just to see the exhibit before it's entered?
Yes.
Is it just a photo?
Okay.
Okay, sure. No objections, Your Honor.
Okay.
We'd also like to publish it to the jury at this time. Mrs. Park, can you tell us a little bit about Sydney?
Sure. I won't say she was just like all the other kids, happy. She always loved riding her bike, being outside, but she also loved reading. I can't tell you the last day I could remember where she didn't have a book in her hand. She took after me like that, so really, it was everything that we did together.
How old was she?
She was 11. She was in 5th grade.
Right about to enter middle school?
Yeah, that's where she would have gone had the 18th one happen.
Mrs. Park, I understand this is difficult, but I need to ask you. You owned a gun, is that right?
Yes. My home got broken into in January of 2010. So my husband and I, we bought a gun. Like I said, I was in the Navy, so I was a certified marksman. Lee had been hunting all his life. So we've been around him, and we wanted to feel safe.
Did Sydney know how to use this gun?
No, she didn't even know we had the gun until the summer of 2010.
Since she wasn't supposed to use it, did you take measures to make sure she wouldn't?
Yes. As soon as we bought the gun, I knew the basic safety standards, keep it in a locked safe, keep the bullets somewhere else, so we did that. I did some research, bought a good safe, and locked it up in my bedroom.
You know, Mrs. Park, it sounds like you took a lot of preventative measures.
I tried to do what I thought would keep it safe, keep us safe from intruders and from any accidents.
Okay. Mrs. Park, I'd like to talk about Jessie. Can you tell us who Jessie is?
Jessie was Sydney's best friend. Hayden and I, we worked together for a long time when the kids were really young. So when they were about 5, Hayden let me know that the house next door to her was on the market. So we moved in, and the kids spent, I swear, every day together.
Now, Mrs. Park, I know you've been sitting here today during trial, hearing testimony. Did you know that Jesse had previous incidents involving violence?
No. I didn't know any of that. Hayden had told me that Jesse was having trouble in school, but I thought she meant grades. I didn't know about the suspension or the fighting.
So Hayden never told you about any of this.
No.
Mrs. Park, did you have any reservations about Jesse?
Not really. Jesse seemed like a normal kid. The only issues I ever had were the video games that she played.
Okay, now, Mrs. Park, I know this is difficult, but I need to ask you about the day of August 18, 2010. Can you tell me how that day started out for you?
August 18th started like any other day. Woke up, got ready for work, got Sydney breakfast. The babysitter normally comes over in the summer, but she called me and told me she wouldn't be able to make it that day, so we had to determine what else to do with Sydney.
So what did you decide to do?
Our neighbor across the street was pretty responsible and he worked from home, so I asked him if he would check in on Sydney every few hours. Sydney had his phone number. We'd let them have that arrangement before.
Had there ever been any problems before when Sydney stayed home alone and the neighbor was on call?
No, we hadn't never had any trouble with Sydney.
What happened next, Mrs. Park?
Hayden brought Jesse over that morning, like pretty normal, and I told Hayden that our babysitter wasn't going to be there, but that we would have Keith, my neighbor across the street, come and look in on the kids. Hayden seemed a little apprehensive, but I guess she had to go to work like me, so we left the kids home.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Park, I know this is difficult. Can you please tell us about the call you received?
Yeah, I was getting ready to go to a meeting, and I got a phone call from a number I didn't know, so I answered it. And there was this man on the other line, told me he was a cop, and that something had happened at my house. So I went home. I don't even remember the drive there. I got to my house, I slammed the car in park, and I just started running because there were cops and there was an ambulance outside. And I got inside and I saw Sydney just lying on the floor. She had a sheet over her. And I just remember how surreal it felt. I think it was a dream. Like a nightmare.
Nothing further.
Thank you. Cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, proceed.
No.
Mrs. Park, I can't imagine what you're going through, so please just take a moment.